a whole episode was dedicated to my voicemail.
Wow. Was it good? Was it a good episode?
They were like, this kid has problems.
Did you get the advice?
Not
you were
like
looking
problems, but they were like, because I was going through some shit. They were like, yeah, this kid's in a tough position.
Was this like a therapy podcast?
No, not really. It's just like they talk about life, and I was just like going through a life problem, and I was like, you know what? Now I finally have content for them, so, and I've listened to them for a long time, so I was just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Did you
So I
get the
called them.
advice you were looking for?
It was way past when I needed the advice, so.
Hey,
So
when
no.
we're
That's
done,
cool, though.
when
So
we're
no.
done, when we're
But it
done
was-
with
it
this,
was
I'll
really
give you
cool
the
listening to it.
I'll give you the number to my therapist after this.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, we don't have to shit on people's personal problems, but it's okay. Anyone else
I
have
was
any
offering to help him.
interesting stories before we get started?
I got nothing
we're all
going
good.
on.
Alex, you don't want to tell him? We'll
What?
tell him. We'll tell him next time.
Okay.
All right. So let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. If you are a previous listener, then welcome back. If you're a new listener, thank you for tuning in. This is Top Shelf Radio. We are going strong on episode 3. So I'm here with Messados, Snipes, and Rizzo. I'm RJ or Richard, whatever you want to call me. We got some good stuff to talk about in this episode. We're gonna go over week 3 a little bit, not as much as last time. We'll talk a lot about this upcoming week, and then we'll get to some questions that people submitted. We only got like 3 serious ones, so that's really the truth
Which
on
we
it.
appreciate.
But this is the first time.
Dedicated.
This is the first time we're filming, so if you didn't like listening to us before the video, now you get to look at us and you can hate us even more. So
Hideous.
that's awesome. But we're gonna start it off. We'll talk a little bit about what happened in week 3, and if one of you guys want to get it going.
It was upset city.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is why we love the NFL. This week like this, just everything that you didn't think would happen happened. So
The
where do you wanna start? I
Patriots
know where you wanna start.
lost.
That's
always
always
fun.
that's
all
always
you
great
gotta
news.
say.
Always something to get excited about.
Get used to it this season.
Oh, hot take. You
That was-
think it's going to happen more?
No. I don't actually think that because I'm too smart to say that, but
Fair.
I don't think they'll be as good as previous years. This offense took a huge step back, especially with the weapons. They just lost one of their best weapons in Rex Burkhead, so that's saying a lot. They're gonna get Gordon back. They're gonna get Edelman back. They're gonna be fine. I just don't think this is the same Patriots team as years past. And I know that seems like an overreaction. They always drop a few games early in the season, but I just Brady looks like he took a step back finally. I do think they're going to be good. I think they're going to win the AFC East. I think they'll make the playoffs. And once it comes playoff time, you know they're going to make some noise. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're not in the conference championship game this year.
I mean, you're talking about weapons. If we're talking receiving weapons, maybe not running backs, because losing Deion Lewis, I think that was a bigger loss than a lot of people really give it credit for. But if Gordon comes in and plays even like 70% of what he can be, Edelman's coming back. Is this not one of the better receiving cores that Brady's had in recent years? And especially in the playoffs where when they won the Super Bowl against the Falcons, they didn't even have Gronk. And then I would say if everyone comes out and shows what they can do and plays their potential, this is one of the better offenses that they've had, at least in terms of receiving. Maybe not running, but I don't know. I can't jump on the Patriots or bad train yet, especially after all these years.
Like I said,
being
I definitely don't think they're bad, and I think they're gonna have double-digit wins. There's no doubt in my mind about that, but Brady just doesn't look the same. I mean, he's on my fantasy team, so I pay close attention to him. I mean, this last game against the Lions was no doubt one of the worst of his career, and you can blame it on the receivers not getting open, whatever. He just looked like he took a serious step back, and he's 42. What is he? 42 years old.
40.
He's 40.
40.
He's only
Just
40?
turned 40.
Okay,
Recently.
he's 40 years old. Like it's about time that he takes a step back. I think he's regressed a little bit. He wasn't making the throws that he usually does, even when in the few instances that his receivers were open. Yeah, I don't see the Patriots winning the Super Bowl this year.
To that point, and we talk a lot about the weapons. Their weapons are some of the best they've ever been, like you said, Richard. And talking about Brady looking like he's, finally reached that point where he's going downhill. We have seen it before. I go back to the Chiefs. I think it was 2 years ago, the year they actually did win the Super Bowl, when he was benched in that game for Garoppolo, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's Garoppolo's time now." Like, he threw 4 picks, this and that. He's not it's not impossible for him to have bad games. So I think the offense is going to be fine. Obviously, I'm never going to doubt Tom Brady. My biggest question mark for the Pats is the defense, because they look so bad, getting torn up by Stafford, who had a rough first 2 games. He's obviously a good quarterback, and the Lions' offense is legit, but to get completely carved up by an 0-2 team that had struggled through 2 weeks, Bill Belichick has a lot to work on the defensive side, and that's why I think you might see the Pats decline a little bit to the point of like 10-6. Nothing serious.
No, I agree with that.
They're missing a ton of defensive weapons. They have Patrick Chung out, believe. They have Flowers, who's out, who always gets in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
so those are holes to fill.
For sure. I mean, I'm also, I said this last week, but I'll believe Josh Gordon is going to make an impact when he starts making an impact.
He might not even play this week.
He hasn't even been on the field for the past 3-4 years. So there's no denying the talent.
He hasn't won a game. He hasn't been on a team that has won since 2014.
Well, he's been on the Browns. So.
No, I get that, but even when he got traded to the Pats,
no wear and
they
tear,
just
bro.
lose just one
Guy's
game.
body is fresh.
Good point.
He's on the roster, but they still just lose.
He's been saving it for the past 3-4 years.
He knew he was going to get traded to New England. He was like, I'll save it for Brady.
Yeah, but they still lost last week. It's
he
just
didn't play.
Cancer, locker room.
He's already tearing down the locker room. Yeah, no, there's no denying the talent, but he's one of those guys that I'll believe it when I see it.
Isn't it weird that Patrick Chung has been a 27-year-old veteran for the past 10 years?
He's been the same age since 2012.
Dude, I swear in like Madden 09, he was like 27.
Easily.
Still
I
27.
feel like I've heard that name forever.
Yeah.
And he's never been that good.
That's true.
He's always
Consistent
been
starter. He's all right.
average safety.
All right.
Moving on.
Damn.
Obviously,
Still.
let's talk about the upset of the weekend.
Yes.
Josh Allen and the Bills.
Browns, Jets.
Yes.
Josh Allen and the Bills going into Minnesota, blowing the doors off the Vikings.
I didn't see anything.
That game was great to watch.
One of the biggest upsets in NFL history.
Yeah.
Statistically.
Easily.
I was a big Josh Allen hater before the draft, but he looked good. One game, he looked good. He tore up one of what's supposed to be a top 5 defense. So
true.
In all different ways, too.
Yeah.
And apparently he's faster than LaDainian Tomlinson.
Oh, my God. What is that, dude? Are you kidding me?
What was it? He ran 21 miles per hour.
can't
Or some
believe-
shit.
Third
That's
highest
not true.
speed.
That's
Third highest speed runner of the season.
I mean, we
What?
know he's he's an athlete.
Is
but
it just the long strides?
It's got to be part of it, but
It doesn't matter. He's going fast.
I heard
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the reason for it is.
he was taking performance-enhancing drugs at halftime. So
Yeah, we could talk
Check
about
him
that
out.
another
what
day.
him out.
happened to the Vikings that game? What could have possibly been the reason?
Dude,
a typical Kirk Cousins team happened. They didn't play up to
That's fair.
expectations.
You can't blame him for that.
I know.
I think it was the Vikings were very hyped going into this season. They had a great season last year. They brought back a good amount of those guys, and they probably thought they were just going to absolutely demolish the Bills with little to no, not little to no preparation, but maybe not as serious preparation, and they just got surprised.
Yeah, and I misspoke. I shouldn't say it's not Cousins' fault. It's obviously Cousins' fault. He had like 65 yards in the first half, so that can't happen. But they also ran the ball 6 times.
they had no running game.
That's tied for the fewest in NFL history.
I'm not trying to
Cook
make
get
this-
hurt, right? Yeah.
He didn't play.
He
he's
didn't
out.
play at all. He was out the whole game, and that's why I'm not trying to make it about myself. But I started Latavius Murray. I was like, wow, he's about to have 17 touchdowns.
How did that work?
He had
out?
like 3 carries.
Yeah. They just didn't run the ball. I guess when you're down 20-1-0 in the first quarter, you can't really run the ball.
I mean, come on, establish something.
Cousins had like 60 yards even in the second half, and then they must have just played prevent the rest of the game, and then he ended up with like 250. But it wasn't just the first half. Like even into the second half,
Really?
he was playing like shit.
And they only scored 6 points, so
yeah,
it's not like it
he
amounted
got
to anything.
Bitched.
They really just got destroyed.
It just honestly, further goes into the point that we've talked about on the last few podcasts of the first few weeks of the season are just so unpredictable. You just don't know.
You have no idea. Like, are the Bills going to turn around and maybe be a decent team now if Josh
Maybe.
Allen's going to play like
Yeah,
that?
maybe it was just Nathan Peterman is so goddamn bad.
That could be it.
Maybe
too.
that was it.
Just
And
didn't
then-
want to play for him.
Or maybe it was Vontae Davis. Maybe he needed to retire at halftime.
Didn't Josh Allen come in last week though?
He started last week.
Oh,
did.
he did, right?
He came in week 1, in the second half of week 1.
Okay.
So, but last week
He
though,
needed a little.
last week against the Chargers though, he wasn't terrible. They lost by like 13. But I don't know. Maybe if he can put something together, they might be able to go 5-11.
That would be big
Crazy.
for them.
I mean, that's a jump because last week we were saying that they might not win a game ever.
That's true.
That's what a lot of
Baby
people were
steps.
saying that.
Yeah.
What does that say? What does it say about the Vikings, though? What do you guys think? Like, you think it was
I don't
just
know.
a
It might
anomaly,
have
or
been a
think
fluke.
the fluke? Yeah, you think?
Might have been a fluke.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a big week coming up this week for sure.
I think-
Huge game.
Yeah, huge game. I think they're going to be fine. Like I said, I think they just thought they were going to steamroll the
Little setback.
the Bills. Didn't have. That's an NFL team.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say about that team, that's an NFL team on the other side. And if you're unprepared, you're going to get beat, and you're going to get beat pretty bad. I think that's not going to happen this week against the Rams, playing against what a lot of people think are the top 2 teams in the NFC, maybe. I think they're going to take this one a lot more seriously, and it's going to be a lot more competitive. And the Vikings will be fine, in my opinion.
So
I
are we going to
ultimately
roll
agree
into the
with that.
predictions?
Well, we can get a little more in depth into that game later.
I was gonna say
It's probably the game of the week.
because I wanted to talk a little bit about the Jets and Browns, but let's use the Jets and Browns to sort of go into next week. So, obviously that was a very, very terrible game for the New York Jets. And there's a lot of places I could start talking about this game.
Here comes
But-
the monologue.
No, I'm not. I don't want to go on too long of a monologue, but I think it really. This game it all starts and comes down with the coaching. They were so obviously holding Darnold back and playing baby with him, and they were playing the one game in the NFL that you should never play, and that's playing not to lose. And what bothers me is I've been a defender of Todd Bowles, and the one thing he's always done wrong is be conservative and play not to lose. And I thought maybe after the Lions game, when they were going for it on 4th down and just pressing and not stepping off the gas pedal, I thought maybe he took a step in the right direction. And this game brought him all the way back down to like square one, honestly, in my eyes. And I think a lot of the fan in their eyes, he's already pretty hated on by the fan base, honestly. But I think this was not good for him at all. They looked awful. They looked unprepared, and you can say 3 games in 10 days, whatever, they were gassed, but you can't have a player who's never played a snap in the NFL come in and just tear you up, especially when they were dominating they knocked Tyrod Taylor out of the game. Yeah. They were dominating. They were hitting him every play, getting to the quarterback. And then for some reason, when Baker Mayfield comes in, they started blitzing and going after the quarterback less and less. It was a team saying, we know everyone thinks we're going to be the team to lose to the Browns for the first time in 2 years. Let's try and be so safe and not be that embarrassment. Mm-hmm. And you were that embarrassment, and you fucked up so bad. And it's just, I don't even know where to start. Like, this is the type of thing that snowballs your season. A loss like that can, especially with a young team. And now they're playing Jacksonville, the best defense in the league, arguably. So I don't know where that takes them. But
Jacksonville did not look good last week.
They did not, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't think the loss was as bad as it may seem. Yeah, the Browns haven't won in forever, but
it's a different team.
It's a different team. A lot of people prior to the season were saying that the Browns are a better team than the Jets, and I think that may be true. They're a more complete team than the Jets. I was disappointed in Bowles' coaching, not really because of the offensive play calling. I thought it wasn't great, but when your line is giving you 1.5 seconds to throw the ball, you don't really have that many options. But on defense, they were so prepared for Tyrod Taylor. They made him look like he's never played an NFL game before.
Fact.
And then Baker Mayfield comes into the game, and yeah, he's very hyped up, and I'm sure he'll be a great quarterback one day. But this is a rookie that had a chance to come into this game. You need to be prepared for that.
They should have.
They
should have been expecting it. Even if they weren't expecting it,
at least prepare for it.
Preparing for this week. Once they were making Tyrod Taylor look like a JV football player, they should have been like, this guy's going to come in.
Yeah.
No, he was 2 for 13.
Yeah, but how do you prepare for that during the game?
You got to make halftime adjustments. You got to
That's
adjust.
true.
They didn't adjust. They
That's
just
true.
played their same game.
I mean, like, yeah, I guess that's true. Because
when the number 1 overall pick in the draft, one of the most hyped players in the past how many years, everyone wants to see Baker Mayfield. Is he going to fucking do it? This guy went against all odds his whole life.
True.
You gotta know when he's coming in. That stadium's gonna be rocking. The team's gonna be hyped up. You can't just keep doing the same shit.
That's true.
You can't just keep. We'll throw screen to a Quincy Enunwa on first down, and then we'll run 3 times in a row, and it won't work. And then we'll go 3 and out, and then our defense has to come back on the field, and after 2 minutes, and get torched because they haven't had time to rest.
I agree, because even if they're up, like, say they're up like 34-0, you still have to prepare for Baker to come in. He's going to probably come in and take some reps. I mean, obviously you can't prepare with the second team for Baker to come in, but I mean, he's the number 1 draft pick. You still have to prepare for that regardless.
We were watching the game at your house. Was everyone not saying, "Oh, Baker might get into this game"?
Yeah, pretty early.
We're fans. As a coaching staff, you have to be prepared for that.
Of
and
course.
there's enough tape out there. We say this all the time, but it's hard to prepare for rookie quarterbacks. But you can be more prepared than that.
Of course.
He threw for 200 yards in a half of football.
What do you have? 2 incompletions, 3 incompletions, if that?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
That part was
And
embarrassing.
it's funny,
I wasn't embarrassed with the loss, but the way that we lost was embarrassing.
Because even though we were like kidding around while watching the game, when Baker came in, we were like, game's over. We were like kidding, but half kidding, because he came in and we were like, all right, he might actually do some damage. And then he had that first couple of throws, and we were like, we're fucked.
Wait, Matt, you go first, but then.
I mean, I think I totally like agree with most of what you guys are saying as far as like not being prepared, not making the right adjustments. But part of you just has to, just like take a knee and accept that Baker looked unbelievable in that game. There are many teams besides the Jets that he would have carved up that day.
That's true.
Like he looked like he came in and he knew exactly what he was doing. For a Jet team whose weakness is the pass rush, you're giving him time. For a mobile quarterback, he's going to find people, and he was threading the needle into tight windows, things that rookie quarterbacks just don't do. Mm-hmm. I think the problem with the Jets was less of adjusting to Baker and more so on the offense. Did they score in the second half?
No.
More so on the offense.
Oh, well, no, they got the field goal, but the
3 points, that was it.
That was after the Browns had already got on their momentum. Yeah. They needed a touchdown, and they got a field goal. I was saying it was 4th and 3. We were on like the 7-yard line or some shit. Go for it. Because if you're trusting your defense that much, you're going to kick a field goal, go for the first down, go for the touchdown, and trust them to stop them when they're on the 5-yard line.
You might as well.
You might as well, yeah.
What was it, 14-3 at half?
Yeah. Yeah. I think 14-3. Baker led them to a field goal right before half.
So that was it. That was my takeaway. Just you mentioned it. Obviously, the offensive play calling was way too conservative. There's no reason Darnold couldn't have played shot for shot with Baker in that game. Why not?
No,
let him throw the ball.
I mean,
it is hard though when the offensive line gives him no time at all. And if you want to move the ball in an offense like that where you're constantly being rushed within 2 seconds of the snap, you have to throw short passes. You have to throw screens. You have to do the tosses. Some of those plays were working. It was conservative, but I see why you don't want your rookie quarterback going down every play in the backfield. That's demoralizing, especially in Cleveland.
I was gonna say the big difference between the Jets and the Browns in that game. The Browns have a guy named Myles Garrett, and the Jets have nobody who you can. A player like that is the difference right there. Because when the Jets stop blitzing in the second half against Baker because they know he's a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor. That's probably why they knew he could thread the needle. So they were like, we can't just be blitzing. He could get a guy open. But that's when a guy like that is so valuable because he can get to the quarterback without 7 men running at the quarterback. He can do it by himself, and they don't have someone like that.
So let's look forward then.
Yeah. Well,
what do the Jets need to fix going into Jacksonville to try to play with them and get a win?
They look, if the defense plays up to their potential, it'll be a good game. I think they can cause a lot of problems for Blake Bortles. Honestly, we're a fast defense, and even without that one great pass rusher, they've been getting to the quarterback in terms of blitzing. They've been getting somewhat of a rush, and I don't think Jamal is honestly the best pass rusher on their team, and he's a safety, so that's saying something. But I don't know. After watching the Titans game, I think it could be one of those terrible to watch. Why the fuck am I looking at this? 9-6, nobody's scoring. The defenses are just playing lights out type of games. But after the Jets we saw this week, I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they're going to be the well-prepared and playing well Jets, or they're going to be the Cleveland Browns. Don't know what the fuck we're doing, Jets. What is it?
I think this Jets-Jaguars game is interesting because you have two teams both kind of looking to right the ship in a way. You have a Jaguar team who's looking to reprove to everybody that they are actually a contender, and that scoring 6 points against the Titans is never going to happen again. But then you also have a Jet team who's going to look to capitalize on the Jaguar struggles, and they're going to go into that game thinking we can beat this team if we play on top of our game.
And
so
honestly,
I don't really know where to think.
I think if they do play on top of their game, they can beat them. Honestly, I know I'm not saying that the Jets can contend in the playoffs, get to the AFC Championship.
We know you think that. You don't have to say it.
All right. I don't think that, but I just think it's just one of those, they match up well. You know what I mean? I just think they beat them last year. I know the Jaguars are improved from last year, but I feel like they always have matched up well in the past. And I think the defense can keep them in the game long enough for the Jets to have a chance, and whether they capitalize on that chance or not is what remains to be seen at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because we've seen the Jets play well in week 1. I just think they're going to have a really tough time unless that offensive line gets better. They need to move some guys around. I don't know. The Giants had this problem first couple of weeks, and they benched the guy who was playing terribly.
He who should not be named.
Named. And it worked in week 3. I think the Jets need to do something similar. That the offensive line is really fucking over that offense because it's not letting Darnold get comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's making them call the short conservative plays that work 1 out of every 3 times, you know?
Yeah, all those screen passes and that was terrible.
Yeah, totally this offense is going to have a lot of trouble unless the offensive line starts to get better.
This is not the game to do that. With the Jaguars front 7. That is a recipe for disaster.
Tough. I mean, it's tough to do anything against that defense. I think it's going to be the lowest scoring game of the season.
Yeah. I was saying this earlier this week. My concern is not Darnold. My concern is the offensive line for Darnold. If he's thinking, like, especially after that first week when they played great, the offensive line, and everyone was like, oh, they're going to possibly be a sleeper. They're going to be good maybe this year. No, they're not. They're terrible. No. But he was, you could see he was comfortable those first 2 weeks. He threw interceptions, whatever, but he wasn't rushing through his progressions. He wasn't rushing to get the ball out. He wasn't scared. But I don't think he's scared, but you just saw he had the happy feet. He was just like turning so quick, and he even said it himself. He was like, I wasn't getting to my reads. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do.
Totally.
And that comes down to the offensive line, and that doesn't go to the coaching, but that goes to the front office. He's been here for how many years? 4 years, and this is our offensive line. It's terrible. And he's drafted one. I think he's drafted one guy, Brandon Shell, who's could be good. It's his 3rd year in the league. He might be good. He's
not bad. He's not bad, well.
But at this point, that's the only thing you have to show us. A guy you drafted in the 5th round that is showing promise, but we still don't know yet if he's good. He signed James Carpenter, who had 1 good year, and now he sucks. Brian Winters, they signed to an extension after half of a good season. He's not playing well. Spencer Long, he can't run block, but he can pass block. He's better than Wesley Johnson. And Beachum is kind of old now. They're just Don't pull the luck treatment, please. Please don't pull the luck treatment to Sam Darnold. That's all I fear. But I don't know. Who are you guys going to take in the game?
So for me, I'm going to go Jacksonville. I just think I'm not going that far as to say the Jets are going to win. But to me, I'll give you an X factor for this game. It's going to be Leonard Fournette and his health. Bortles has proven he needs Fournette to
Practice
play.
today.
He practiced. That's good. They need Fournette to open up that offense.
Absolutely.
Like TJ Yeldon, he's
good
out of the backfield. He's not running up the middle.
No.
Fournette is just a truck, and especially with a quarterback like Bortles, he needs some running back. He needs a running game.
Of course.
And I think he's going to get it if Fournette plays. I'm going to go with the Jaguars.
That's fair.
I'm going to take the Jaguars too. I just don't have enough confidence in this. That's a matchup nightmare right there. The Jaguars front seven versus the Jets offensive line. I just don't feel confident enough in anyone on the Jets to take this game for them. It's going to be another one of those weeks where Darnold is petrified back there and not able to get through all his progressions, and that's going to make for a boring game probably. And the Jaguars are going to win.
I'm going to pick the Jaguars, and it's not because I'm smart and pick the right team to win. It's because I'm always wrong. So if I pick the Jaguars, the Jets will win. So the Jaguars are going to win the game.
I like that. I don't even want to know.
If you listen to our previous two, you should go back and listen.
I don't even want to know our predictions. I don't want to know our records from the past.
Mine is not
couple
good.
Of weeks.
No.
I'll tell you
all
that.
of us, they cannot be good.
No.
At all. They cannot be good.
So you're going to pick the Jets?
I'm going Jets. Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's going to be right. Either three are going to be right, or
Exactly.
one is
Somebody's
going
got
to
to do it. So it's kind of like
Unless
a
they
high
tie.
risk, high reward.
They could tie. Do you guys want to move on to the Giants?
Yeah.
Yes.
Since we're
Did we
on
talk
New York.
Rams Vikings?
What? Did we?
We didn't touch on that game, no.
That's Thursday.
That's coming up this
We'll
week.
give a prediction on that game.
We'll talk about the Giants and then we'll talk about the Rams
Okay.
Vikings then.
I
Just
was
because
at the- okay.
we're talking about New York.
New York.
That's
and
true. That's fair.
I definitely want to talk about the Giants because we all picked them to lose last week. So we should.
And we got shat on
All right.
by
Oh, yeah.
friends of the show. Not really friends.
Listeners of the show.
Yeah, fair.
To all my Giants fans out there,
Here we go.
I'm sorry.
Say it.
We were wrong.
No, don't say
The
that.
Giants are a great team
What are you doing?
because they beat the Texans by 5. Just squeaked by the
Super
Texans.
Bowl champions.
Talk shit to us all you want. We're going to take it because we're admitting we were wrong. Giants to the Super
We
Bowl.
were wrong. We were wrong. The Giants are not completely awful. They are just very bad.
All right, I'm going to be that guy.
Oh, come on.
What I saw from that game, the 5-point score was not really indicative of how the game went. They never really looked like they were going to lose. I don't know. I know Kornfeld was making us watch every snap of that game when we were over at my house.
Shout out.
Shout out Cornfeld.
So we saw a lot of it, and Eli looked good. The line held up for the most part, aside from J.J. Watt. Nobody's guarding J.J. Watt.
Fuck J.J.
Not
Watt.
he's torn
the
every
problem?
soft
Knee
tissue
guy.
in his body.
And he's just going.
He's
a big
torn
knee
everything.
guy.
He's broke everything, and he'll just still be amazing.
Right. But what I
guy.
saw out of that game, I liked what I saw from the Giants. I don't know. I'm not ready to completely make a 180 on how I think the season's going to go because their schedule now is Saints, Panthers, Eagles.
Dead.
So they're in big trouble.
0-3.
But they looked like they were starting to put some things together. And I'm going to start to back off a little bit on how much I've been hating them
Interesting.
because I don't know. I just think when Barkley has some open space and when he has a right tackle who's not Eric Flowers, maybe he can.
He was benched, right?
Yeah, he was benched.
We're seeing some big stuff right here because Matt
I still don't like Saquon Barkley.
was still all right.
I
All right.
like you.
I was going
to
to touch on that, but Matt is a big-time Giants hater this season so far, and he's since the draft been a Saquon hater. Not hater,
love
but
him.
just you don't
Sounds
love
like
him.
you love him.
But
The hype
now
is
you're
crazy.
saying maybe if he's got some guy, which is with any running back, dude, he's getting hit. He's getting hit and breaking a tackle, and he's getting hit right away.
Yes.
What is he going to do?
But the point that I'm
That's true.
making, as far as Saquon goes, obviously the offensive line can only help him. I was more impressed with Eli than I was with Saquon, given when the offensive line was serviceable, I'll say.
Good word.
He thank you. He looked like he had some time. He looked like he was hitting some good routes.
of
Odell
course,
got
but
involved a little.
Look at the opponent.
Yeah.
I still am not ready to say the Texans are that bad.
They are.
They have the names.
The only defenders they have.
But they have, like, if they can put it together, they are not that bad.
The only defenders they have are Watt, Clowney, and Matthew, which is a new pickup. Who else?
That's about it that I know of. They
that's-
didn't have a first round.
We're obviously not Texans fans, so off the top of our head, we don't know.
But-
But that says something. You don't.
Exactly.
They're not a big name.
And then,
defense.
but then
They don't
on
have much
offense,
talent.
you've got Watson and Hopkins.
They have to figure it out. That's a difference, though.
But I don't think that the team is like devoid of talent. So I think that they still are able to hang in games and they still are going to compete. So I think that that's a good win. It was in Houston.
I think Watson.
was at Houston?
It was in Houston.
It was in Houston. I think that that's a pretty good win.
Of course it is, but
I wouldn't even go as far.
but
to
even
say,
but if Houston won the game, we would also say it's a good win. So like it's kind of like it's one of those games.
I wouldn't
that's why we
go-
spoke about it last episode. It was one of those toss-up games where if Houston won, we would say it's a good win. They might get their shit back together. And it's the same thing with the Giants. Like it's a good road win against a supposed to be solid team, but they're not. But
they beat an 0-2 team.
exactly.
I think Watson's still getting his legs back under him.
could. Right.
Just getting his feet wet still. I mean, you saw it
He
with
played
Wentz.
well.
I mean,
bad.
Watson's played all 3 games so far, but coming back from ACL,
It's tough.
in anything, quarterback, whatever position you are, it's just you just gotta get used to running around again on the field like that.
I think
And he didn't even play that bad. I mean, he might have got some garbage time stats.
No,
but
he
Yeah.
had untimely turnovers in the first half. But like, I mean,
You fumble?
I think he did fumble. I think he had a strip sack. But
he had a strip sack. He strip sacked
he
himself.
strip sacked himself. It
me
was
find the
actually
box
a very
score. I'll look that
impressive
up.
play. I mean, last year he had Mariota catching touchdown passes to him.
That's fair.
So who knows what's going to happen? But
Respect.
and I know we kind of cut Alex off, but just to wrap up my point, I think the Texans are still better than their record says they are. And I know that you were going to disagree with that, so I want to hear it. But I think it's a decent win for the Giants and a step in the right direction.
I don't disagree with the fact that their record is better than it says they are. They're 0-3. I think both of these teams are just, at best, 2 middle-of-the-pack teams. Maybe the Giants will turn around and win a few games, not against these 3 teams. They're probably going to start 1-5.
Yep.
Be careful.
Yeah,
if
I
you're
mean,
wrong about that.
if the offensive line works out, they could win a few games. They beat the Texans, who are like an okay team. It's just a lot of okay things, you know. Eli was okay, you know.
Right.
The defense was okay. The offensive line was okay.
Right.
Saquon, I like him a lot. I think he's really good, but the line isn't giving him that much room.
So
when
he
they
plays
do, he
okay.
looks great. But this is just an okay team to me at best. And that's if the offensive line has really figured it out. If they haven't, this team is in for a top 5 pick, in my opinion.
I was gonna say, if the offensive line plays average, they can win games. They can win some games. They might not be a contender. They
think
might
if
not
the
even make the
bench-
playoffs. They can win some games. They have enough talent in the skill positions that if Eli gets an average amount of time, they will score points. They will win some games. But I realized we wanted to talk about the upcoming week, and we kind of just
Yep.
went all in on the Giants last
What
week.
happened?
Speaking of, so they have the Saints this week, correct?
Yes.
yes.
And I saw a stat today that the number 2 receiver that has gone against the Saints the first 3 weeks have done amazing.
Really.
Calvin Ridley last week.
Yep.
The weeks before, I don't really remember.
They played the Browns and the
Antonio Callaway had a touchdown against the Saints.
Bucks in week 1.
And then Deshaun Jackson had a breakout game
Okay.
week 1. That's
so
what it was.
So obviously,
So Sterling Shepard
right.
might have a big
he
week.
needs a big game.
So
Exactly.
He
They
needs
are-
a big game.
he played fine last game.
He did. He did.
You were
What I-
you were shitting on him in the first half, and then you were like, "Oh, he's playing well now."
He needs a big game.
What I take
He has a lot of hype. Giants fans
He does.
think he's like a legitimate number 2. I haven't seen much, and this is his 3rd year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Haven't seen much out of him so far.
No, of course not.
But sure, like it looks like the Saints. You know, they have Marshawn Lattimore, as the number one bet
That's it,
corner,
though.
and then I don't know who was on the other side. Obviously, not anybody special.
No.
That's what I was gonna say. Is they have a very good cornerback, and the rest of their defense sucks.
Yes.
Which is why
a
all the
fact.
number 2 receivers are going off.
Right.
So you think the Giants could squeak it out?
I don't think they're gonna win this game.
No, I don't think so.
They'll probably put up a good amount of points, but the defense isn't gonna stop Drew Brees. It doesn't look like anyone can really.
Where's that game?
I don't know.
Where do the Jets play?
The Jets are away.
It's probably home.
It's probably home.
I'll tell you right now.
I was gonna say
At Giants.
right after seeing the Saints last week, they're not gonna shoot out with the Saints. The Saints are gonna. I feel like they're gonna carve them up, honestly. With the way
careful.
I mean, the Saints
Be
and Falcons
careful.
always. I heard this on the radio the other day. Like the over under for points for the last 10 matchups for the Falcons and the Saints has been 50 something each time. Like an absurd
Stupid
amount
high.
each time. Stupid high because they just go and go. They just
Right.
shoot out every time. But
Yeah, it probably
I
goes
mean, if we're
over
gonna-
every time, too.
I feel like it's gonna come down to the offenses in this one, and obviously you're gonna take the Saints.
You know what?
So you're taking the Saints?
I'm taking. What are they? Are they 1-1?
2-1.
2-1. They are.
The Saints?
Yeah.
Shit.
Are you sure?
Damn.
Yeah.
When
Why
I
I
beat
thought
the
they were
Falcons
1 and
last
2.
I thought that was their only win.
Yeah, they beat the
they
Browns.
beat the Browns,
You're right. Forgot about that. I always consider the Browns like a win or a tie
Yeah.
because it was close.
you know, I'm not confident enough in the Giants to take them, but it wouldn't. I know I said they're probably going to start 1-5, but it wouldn't totally shock me if they won because I think the Saints have a great offense, but their defense is terrible. So, given the right game plan, a team could score a lot of points against them. But there's no question to me who the better team is. It's the Saints. But I can see the Giants winning this game. I won't take them, but it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me.
Are we all going Saints?
No, we're not.
Good.
We're not
You
all
going
going
Giants?
Saints. I'm going to take the Giants for one reason in particular. I think the Giants' defense is underrated for what they've been given credit for. I know they came into the season thinking okay, this is a pretty good defense. They have some guys out there. And look, obviously the Saints, they've played 3 games. 2 of them, they scored over 35 points. They went off on the Bucs. They went off on the Falcons. But they got stopped pretty heavily by the Browns. So the Giants are feeling good. They're coming off a win. They're at home. They know how important it is to get this win. Especially, I'm sure that you don't look ahead, but I know that they know who's on their schedule, and they have to win one of these games, at least one of these games. And I think that they're gonna be able to take advantage of a Saints defense that has looked disgusting through 3 weeks. And I think while it's like the Saints are the better team, like Alex said, I'm gonna bank on the Giants to try to string along something here and get a win that they really need. So I'm gonna go with the Giants.
Is Ingram back this week?
No,
No.
one more week.
One more week?
He's back, and then they have a bye right after. So that sucks because I have him in fantasy. He's back week 5, and then he is suspended 4 games. He comes back week 5, and then they have a bye week 6, I believe.
So he's gonna get.
So he starts week 6. Well, not starts, but
Kamara's questionable too.
Is he?
He came up with an injury today. He's gonna play, but
He's
you know,
playing. What's the injury?
it's unsure. They said it was a new injury. There's
interesting.
not much information about it.
He's sick.
You have the Saints, Jeff?
He's insane though. Kamara is so good.
So good.
I'm going
So good.
Saints. Speaking of Kamara, I don't think that they have anything for him to.
If he plays.
He's gonna play.
He'll play. I don't think they have any retaliation for him, as well as Michael Thomas, who is also playing out of his fucking mind.
God, dude.
Playing out of his mind. It's
40
literally
targets, 38 catches.
something I've
ridiculous.
never seen
Kidding me?
before. Playing out of his mind. So I think it's tough to cover both of them at the same time ish. I just can't see the Giants having a retaliation for that. So I'm going Saints.
If I don't make a prediction, I can't be wrong. So
You took the Saints already.
never said that.
So is
started
this
and took the
Saints?
Maybe I did.
Are we all Saints? No, you're Giants.
Yeah, I'm going Giants.
I'm going to take the Saints.
I don't see why. Who on the Saints defense is gonna make an impact? Why can't the Giants go shot for shot.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say because I was going to add it on to some.
Marcus Davenport.
I was going to add on to something you said.
good.
You were saying the Giants' defense isn't that bad. And I was going to say it's only 2 years ago they were one of the best defenses in the league.
Right.
So they still have a lot of those core players that made them that great defense.
Vernon hasn't got on the field yet.
Oh, he
Does
hasn't played
Eli
yet.
Apple play?
Yeah, he's actually not been too bad.
Really?
I think he's been okay. I'm taking a lot of Kornfeld's word on this because he apparently is the biggest fan.
Shout out Cornfeld.
Another
That's
shout out
tough.
Kornfeld, but
That's a
He could have
Number two
one
shout-out.
one
that's the second shout out.
one deflection. He's like, oh, Eli Apple. Go.
Right. So you gotta take that with a grain of salt because it is Kornfeld. But I think he has been pretty good. I just think and like I just said, Marcus Davenport is a beast.
He's good.
He's their first round pick, the defensive end. They actually traded up for a defensive end in the first round. They gave up
Giants.
No, the
Oh, the
Saints.
Saints. I was going to say they did not pick
So they
Saquon Barkley.
yeah.
I am officially off the podcast.
So they traded a first round pick next year for a defensive end to move up like 3 spots. But he's been paying dividends so far. He's good. And if he can get to Eli, they were going to have some trouble.
You
But
don't think you can get to Eli?
I don't think he's going to get to Eli.
No?
I don't
You think
so.
the offensive line?
I think
Let's
the
relax.
offensive line is going to hold up again. I just think that the Saints defense is terrible. They looked good last year. They look so bad this year. And I'm going to just ride the Giants.
Offense is terrible.
I don't think it is, though.
All right, we'll see. So
don't-
we got, what do we got? 3 Saints, 1 Giants?
3 wrongs, 1 right. Yeah, I think that's what we got.
That's what you could say.
If the Giants win, we're not going to hear the end of this.
No, we
They
won't.
won one game.
Honestly,
against
I-
the 2 team, and we didn't hear the end of it.
I encourage you guys to shit on us more because
You're right.
at
More
this point,
exposure.
maybe we should learn. Maybe we should learn from this point.
All right.
So we have our first question. It was submitted by our good high school friend Matt Kaminer, and
Thank
the
you,
question was
Friend of the
thank
show.
you, Matt,
Thank you.
because I posted on my
Shout
story.
out to Kaminer.
I posted on my story, and 300 people fucking viewed it, and
Why are you selling yourself short?
2 people gave me real questions, and then everyone else had to give me bullshit. So thank you, Matt Kaminer, for being real, and Vinny behind the camera, fuck you for not being real. So, who was the most overhyped team going into Week 4 is the question.
I swear to God, if we talk about the Chiefs for 45 minutes again, we're gonna have a
All
problem.
right, because I
Chief-free
honestly
podcast.
don't have a team that comes to mind. So let's talk. What teams are really hyped up right now? We got the Chiefs, the
The
Rams.
Lakers.
This kid can't go 5
Mike
minutes
Walker.
without.
I've been
talking.
waiting. I've been waiting for
Got
this
it.
moment.
Yeah, that joke.
You couldn't
all
be
day.
wearing more Lakers gear right now.
Yeah,
dude.
I didn't reveal
Jesus.
anything. I'm gonna reveal my Lakers jersey under my Lakers sweatshirt.
Richard has signed
All right.
with the Lakers.
All right.
All right, we got the Chiefs. We got the Rams. Who else do we got? The
Who else is
Dolphins.
undefeated?
Would you say the Dolphins?
Dolphins.
Are hyped
Yes.
up?
No.
Oh,
Get out of here.
They're
hear
not
it.
hyped.
Yes, of course they are.
Nobody believes
are
them.
they hyped
Dude,
or are
of
they
course
just 3-0?
are. You know how many people I've heard that say the Dolphins are actually going to win this week?
against the Pats.
Yes.
They might win.
Could win.
Exactly. That's overhyped.
You don't think they have a
If
shot?
you-
What the Patriots have been doing, you don't think the Dolphins have a shot?
I never said that. However,
Not overhyped.
if the Dolphins were 1-2, then people would be like, that's an easy win for the Pats.
Yeah, but they're not.
But they're not.
Exactly, so they're overhyped.
But the hype is
3-0.
justified. I don't think that there's much hype. I think that it's a fair matchup.
You can't just say if their record was different, then that's overhyped because they are what they are. You can't say if they were 1-2, then they would be overhyped going to the Pats because no one would be saying they would win if they were 1-2 going to the Pats.
yeah, but we're talking about
They're
overrated.
3-0.
Is there
They're
hype?
3-0, so that the 3-0 could be overrated.
The 3-0 could be overrated, but not because they could be 1-2. And
They
right,
could
all
also
right.
they could also be known to be overrated. I feel like nobody's buying into them. They're not overhyped. They're overrated. Those are opposites almost.
That's fair.
They are
don't know why
overrated.
that
So
was
who?
my term
So
of
who
choice.
are the
You know what I mean?
hyped up teams?
Right.
Let's talk about it.
So you
The
got the
Bucks.
fucking Chiefs, who I'm
Are
not
the
even
Bucks?
gonna address.
Are the Bucks a hyped up team?
No.
Yeah, going into last week, yeah,
Even last week,
They
they're
should've
pretty
won.
hyped up.
they still are pretty hyped up. 'cause
Should've
they
won.
looked good.
They were.
I'm
There,
not gonna
there was no.
They were a punt return touchdown being called back from winning.
There was
Right.
not much of a difference between the Bucks in week 1 and 2 versus the Bucks in week 3.
Right.
Terrible defense, great offense.
Fair,
Yeah.
but I feel like the
Same
hype
with the
did kind of
Chiefs.
mellow out a little bit.
Because they took a loss.
Right.
But do you think they're hyped? They're a hyped team.
Yes.
Who else is hyped?
The Jaguars.
No.
I don't think they're overhyped though.
They just got...
I think people.
But they're
Bitch.
coming into the year, like people think that they're the second best team in the AFC.
That's true. I mean, that defense is rightfully so hyped. They deserve all the hype. The offense is terrible. That's always been a problem.
And Ross, I'm sorry to say this if you're watching.
Ross. Shout out Ross.
Shout out Ross. You're not going to like what I have to say. I think I'm just going to answer the question. I think the Eagles are the most overhyped team in the league.
Oh.
Interesting.
I think obviously getting Carson Wentz back, that's good, but let's not forget this is a team that went on a magical ride at the end of the year.
Yes, sir.
They've been living off this for the whole offseason, the first 3 weeks. They look like an average football team, a good football team. They're not leaps and bounds ahead of the competition.
Yes, sir.
Their defense has been susceptible to some big drives, some high-scoring games. Noticeably,
They've given up a lot of passing yards.
Yeah, Tampa Bay comes to mind. They lit them up.
Andrew Luck did not play well at all.
Well, Andrew Luck is a whole nother. You're talking overhyped. Andrew Luck is a whole nother conversation.
Well, I'm just saying, you're giving up a whole lot of Andrew Luck.
I wouldn't
Who's
call
he
him
got in the
overhyped.
first
I'd call him washed up.
No, that's
He's got Ty.
a little bit of both.
Jack Doyle's best tight
Jack
end.
Doyle doesn't play anymore.
The
Eric
point
Ebron?
is,
Eric Ebron. He
Doyle
sucks.
plays,
Dude.
he's
Don't
hurt.
talk about Eric Ebron.
Injured.
He sucks.
let's not
He
stray away. Let's
stinks
not
on
stray
ice.
away.
You're
here.
right. Don't stray away.
Eric
My-
Ebron catches the ball in his hand, just drops it.
My bedtime's coming up, so let's just get to the overhype.
Wrap it up.
The Eagles, to me, look like a middle-of-the-pack team, and they are so hyped because of what they did last year. Fair enough, coming into the year, they're the defending Super Bowl champions, but they haven't looked anything special. They haven't looked anything that would make me believe that they have a chance to do it again, which everyone's saying that they're the team to beat, this and that. I just am not buying it, and I'm almost ready to tell the Eagles to go fuck themselves.
Hey.
I'm gonna.
Sorry, Ross.
Yeah, sorry, Ross, whoever you are.
Good guy.
Great guy. I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I think the defense has maybe needed a couple weeks to kick it into, but they let up 15 points to the Colts. Like
Yeah, it was like 20 to 15.
yeah, it was 20 to 15. It was a
Good
good.
luck falling all over himself.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
Luck, whatever. I think the defense will be fine. They pretty much everyone's back besides insider trading, and they added Michael Bennett. And it was once his first game back. He literally tore his ACL. 10 months ago? Not even, right?
Less than that.
It was his first game back. They still don't have Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey coming back
Practicing this week.
is big. They don't have Darren Sproles, he's Darren Sproles. He's not nothing.
They've
been
Sproles.
They've been weaponless.
They have 7 other running backs.
They've
on the
been
team that all
Corey
do nothing.
Clement was
They've been
garbage bag.
They've been weaponless, and they've been Wentzless. It was his first game back off a torn ACL, and he played fine. He didn't play great. He'll be fine. I think the Eagles are going to be more than fine.
But who is your overhyped team?
My
Wait,
overhyped
no.
team.
I'm not done with this Eagles talk yet.
All right.
I'm not down on Wentz. I think he's good. I think Goff better. I'm not. I'm not down on Wentz. He's a great.
You're just excluding verbs now.
Yes, I think Goff better.
No is.
Nope.
Just Goff better.
Yes, Goff better. I like Wentz. I do like Wentz. I just don't see what he has around him that's really making a difference in these games. With a loaded
They're on the
NFC,
bench. They're hurt.
with a loaded NFC, like they don't have enough.
I didn't think they had that much talent when they won.
Right.
Especially on offense. All right. I know you like Alshon Jeffrey. Alex is on your fantasy team. I don't think he's that fucking good. I don't think he's that special.
Not.
I don't think he's that great, but he is a number one receiver in the league who has proved
he
himself
6'8"?
year after year.
And he has proved him that he has glass for bones.
He's
Yes.
always injured.
Well, he's not
He
on the field
doesn't-
now, and he will be soon.
They might have to
Always
get used
injured.
to it.
He's not a burner. He's just all right. You throw
He's
him
a
up the
possession
ball.
guy.
He's got good hands.
Possession- Yeah, he's got good hands.
He's similar. He's
Big hands.
The team-
He's reminiscent of Larry Fitzgerald.
Big hands.
The team-
You ever see
not
his
as good.
hands?
The team seems to be elevated.
Huge hands.
The team seems to be elevated by great quarterback play, which is what their Cinderella story. They got Nick Foles to play out of his fucking mind. That's why they won the Super Bowl.
Do you think Carson Wentz is great?
I think he had a great season last
He
year.
has potential to be
And
great.
I think when
you're
even,
gonna call him great now.
even
I think they're going to ask him to do too much.
I think even
What
coming
more
off,
can you ask him to do besides play
Carry
quarterback?
this offense.
Rich, what were you saying?
even
It's the same weapons they had last year, and he had a fantastic season. It's like Aguilar a year later. He's a young guy. He's playing well. You got Alshon Jeffrey, who's very consistent.
I wouldn't say he's playing well. Just he's catching targets.
Well,
but like they're like
Wentz-
an average of 12 yards.
He's nothing special.
12 yards
sort
per,
of broke
per
out
reception is
He's just
pretty
a
good.
receiver on the team.
You know what I mean?
He's nothing special.
He's a fine number 2, and
look.
it's the Same weapons that Wentz had last year, and he made it work.
So Alshon's the number one.
yeah,
I'm saying,
Was he the number one last year?
yeah.
yeah.
It didn't seem like he was that good
Oh,
last
he was-
year.
he was
wasn't.
number
He's
one.
not that good.
It was honestly,
That's
if you look, I mean, I don't want to just talk about stats, but if you look at the stats, him and Aguilar were pretty 1-2.
Yeah.
Like terms of yardage and touchdowns. It's like 800 and 900.
And that's
8
I
and
think
10, whatever.
that's a testament to
Yeah.
Wentz.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I'm gonna
He's
say
feeding all the-
you watch Wentz even now, his first game back from a torn ACL, and you see why he's great. You see him avoiding rush and doing this and that. He's got to shake some rust off, but you see why he's so hyped up. And you know, like
He's great.
I don't know, he's good. Yeah, but you're saying the problems are outside of him, obviously. So
I think it's just a team that got hot at the perfect time. They rode the hot hand. They took advantage of some teams that probably overlooked them as well.
of course,
Overlooked them in the NFC Championship game in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Really?
I think so.
they were underdogs
think
at
the
home.
Falcons
Come on, say you're a coach
overlooked them?
preparing for a team that is Nick Foles as the quarterback. You're like, all right, we're
In
going
the
to eat this
Super
guy
Bowl?
alive. Not
the Patriots?
No,
the
not the
Patriots were underprepared.
That's not,
not
what
the
we're
Patriots.
talking about.
My
the
point-
run, even if they made it like to the Super Bowl and lost, that's still an incredible run that we would still be talking about.
Yeah, but they
They-
won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, with Malcolm Butler out of the game. Besides the fact,
Facts.
Yeah, that
Point.
yeah.
What I was saying was they're a team that got hot at the right time, took advantage of a lot of opportunities that they were given, which is great. That's how you win a Super Bowl. Everything clicks. But I'm looking at them
Good
now.
coach over there.
Great coach. Doug Peterson's a
Peterman.
good coach. But I'm looking at them
Peterson.
now, and I'm seeing the same team as last year. Okay, they added Michael Bennett. He's good. I don't think he at this
That's
point
the
in
team
his
that
career,
won the Super Bowl.
at this point in his career, I don't think he's changing the game that much.
No,
And I see every team in the NFC that got a lot better,
that is true.
being the Rams, the Vikings, the Saints. And I just think the
Did
way
the,
that we're
did the
treating
Saints
them,
get a lot better?
Definitely improved their roster.
not
a
they
little
haven't shown it so far, but I think that everybody we expect them to be better.
they haven't done anything to hurt
Their
roster.
defense looks worse, but I see the same Eagles team, and I see them getting way too much respect for what they did in the past, and not people are not looking at what they actually are, and that's why they are my overhyped team.
All right. Well, go.
I think this will play right into their favor. They're going to be underestimated again.
We got more of
And-
those masks.
Yeah, that
Dog.
stupid mask.
Fuck
Dog.
that.
Fuck that mask.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about a mask. But yeah, I think it's gonna play in their favor. I think teams might overlook them again. They started a little slow. Teams might be looking a little bit down the line over the Eagles, and Eagles will surprise you. They're a very well coached team. They're very efficient.
Could we go on to the next?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say. I know the question was who is all
we
of your
didn't
overhyped teams, but we kind of got into the whole Eagles debate just there.
Just
Matt
quick.
says that
Eagles
Matt
are
says
the
the
answer.
Eagles are overhyped. Honestly, if you're saying quick, I can't think over the top of my head.
Do you have one in mind? Is
I
that why
said-
you want to?
Yeah, if
Who
you
you
want,
got?
we got to be just say it. We can't really get into a debate.
No, I don't.
You don't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
the
mean-
answer is the Eagles.
We'll go.
First
with
one that comes to mind for me is the Chiefs. But I
We've-
do think they're gonna make some noise. So
Yeah.
they're,
All right.
they're not they're right now people are looking at them like they're one of the best teams in the league, and I don't think they're like a top 1 or 2 team in the AFC.
That's
But I
the
think
thing.
they're good.
Their hype is like astronomically high.
Yeah.
So like it's reasonable to have them be good, but like it's just a little.
I would
biased.
argue the Dolphins.
You could say that. All right, let's.
No,
already
they're
went all over them.
overhyped. I know, but I would say they are overhyped.
Yeah.
You
All
don't.
right.
I think they're obviously going to fold. We all know that, but I think that they are overhyped.
But if people know that, then they're not overhyped.
That's not true though.
All
People are rooting for the Dolphins.
I don't want to cut you off, but
No, it's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Let's
I'm
go to the
sorry,
next question.
Matt, if we didn't fully answer your question. We got one answer from Matt. I thought it sparked a nice
One and
little
a half.
debate there. But we're moving on to number 2, and that was from Brian.
Yeah.
And
Friend
Brian
of the
Eckerly, good guy, sucks at foot.
Oh.
What is it? Are you buying
What
into
are- what are
is
the thoughts
What are the
on-
thoughts on Baker Mayfield? Basically, are you buying into the hype right now?
Brian, first of all, congrats on your fantasy football win, because teams in the league just want to trade you all the best players. But yeah, we can get to
Another
that.
shout out to Michael Kornfeld
Yeah.
for being terrible.
I don't
Third
fear
shout out.
So
Brian.
Dagger.
we talked about the Jets and the Browns before. We mostly shit on the Jets and Todd Bowles. So I think this is a good question to kind of expand onto that, because the only thing we've seen from Baker Mayfield is his game against the Jets. So do you think? Look, all these rookies, man, they're gonna have great and bad games, and each week is gonna be whatever they did that past week is gonna be who they are in
Right.
that moment. So
I-
Baker Mayfield played great. He's the best quarterback in the draft right now. He's the best one. That's it.
I want to hear Alex's opinion on Baker Mayfield.
This might be a cop out, but I don't really have one.
Okay.
He's played a half of a game.
Underwhelming.
Okay, but
I think he has the potential to be great. I think he will be a good quarterback, and I think he will be the quarterback that the Browns have been looking for however many years and however many names are on that jersey.
yeah.
But it's been one game.
You can add Tyrod to that.
I'm not gonna
Yep.
I'm not gonna compare him to any great quarterback. I think he'll be good, and that's good. If it's very good, if it's great, I don't care. I care. I don't care to make a prediction on that, because it's just setting myself up for failure.
Okay.
He'll be fine.
So I love to set myself up for failure. You went with the conservative approach. I'm gonna go all in here. I love Baker Mayfield.
Everyone loves Baker Mayfield.
I love Baker Mayfield, not only the man. I love Baker Mayfield, the football player, the quarterback. What I saw in that game, he looked so sharp. It
Fact.
looked it to an extent. It's the whole defense unprepared for a rookie quarterback coming in. That whole narrative exists, and it's legitimate to an extent. But when you're watching him play, and you're watching him go through the reads, make the throws, he looks like he just knows what he's doing.
Throwing darts.
And having so much experience in college, he's been in big games. He's not like this 20-year-old kid.
He's older compared to
Right. He
very
came out as a
forward already.
senior. Yeah. So he's almost he's a lot more developed than the rookie quarterbacks tend to
course.
be, which obviously plays in his favor. I think he's more of a complete quarterback, and he looks the part. Like he just looks like he can get it done.
Absolutely.
You know what?
And I'm all in on Baker Mayfield.
Okay. Yep.
I feel like that's an early raise for you, because you're somebody who has said in previous podcasts, like, let's pump the brakes on Deshaun Watson. Let's pump the brakes on Pat Mahomes. What
good
difference do you see in Baker Mayfield from one half of football as opposed to Watson, who has played 8-9 games? as
Expose
opposed-
him.
That's a good question. I think, well, I obviously have admitted by now that I'm wrong on Mahomes, so I will take the L on that one. He's obviously good.
You weren't really wrong. You just said, let's pump the brakes. Let's relax.
Okay, yeah. So, but I wasn't sold. And with Watson, it's the eye test for me. Because it's not like Watson hadn't played, and I said that. I saw him play. I didn't think his game is as transferable to the league as a guy like Baker, because as we've seen from Watson this season, he's too quick to leave the pocket. He's too quick to try to make too much of a play. Baker, I think, is a good blend of staying in the pocket while also knowing when to leave the pocket. And I just think again, from what I've seen, the eye test, and I know obviously I haven't seen a lot, but I watched Baker a lot in college because he's played a lot in college. I think that the tools are there. So when I say that those other quarterbacks, let's pump the brakes, it's more of I wasn't sold on what I've seen from them. I'm no NFL scout, so I can easily be wrong. But to me, Baker checks all the boxes that I didn't see in a guy like Watson.
What I want to ask is, you're saying the eye test, whatever. Watson, last year, obviously, before he got hurt, he was tearing it up in the NFL. He was having great games in the NFL.
No part of you thought that he can't keep up 400 yards, 5 touchdowns every game?
No, obviously he can't do that. But it's completely different than scouting a player who's playing in college because
right.
You're saying the eye test, whatever. Your only eye test from Baker Mayfield was at Oklahoma in an offense that a lot of the quarterback now, I'm pretty sure he broke Mayfield's record for yards in a game. Like the offense, and I'm going to get to Mayfield in a second. Oh, was it rushing? Whatever. I'm going to get to Mayfield in a second, and I'm high on him, but I just think when you're comparing eye tests, one is in a conference that's known for bad defenses and high-powered offenses, and one was literally in the NFL tearing it up. So
you're talking Big 12, like Oklahoma.
Yeah,
bad defenses.
It's known to have not
right.
great. It's
That's
all
true.
it's run and gun basically.
But Oklahoma ran a pro-style offense that catered to Baker's strengths.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I just want to know really the thought process there and comparing you're comparing the games from Watson in the NFL to Baker's games in college because this is the only time you've seen Baker play in the NFL, and you're saying you see it translate, but it's a half of football. So
100%, and I said right when I made the initial prediction, it's going out on a limb.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put all my chips in on Baker Mayfield.
There's nothing wrong with that as a betting man.
Right, as a betting man, I'm sold on Baker Mayfield, but it's more of like what I say with Watson is he doesn't look like he has the longevity to last in the NFL with the way he runs his offenses.
I see that.
And obviously there's plenty of time for him to switch that up, but the way he currently operates, I don't see it. I just never bought into it. And I think that was more of the shock of what is this guy doing last year when he was going off. Like, he came out of nowhere. You see now this year, granted his ACL is still healing. You see now this year, though, he's good.
Yeah.
He's average quarterback.
Now, I completely understand that. My only argument against that at the moment before I get
seen any of Baker.
is you've seen one game of Baker, so you can't determine if he's going to be like that all the time. So
Of course.
He's gonna
It's
have his
tough
moments.
to give predictions
Yeah.
with just one half of football.
my opinion
Thanks,
of
Brian,
Baker,
for this hard question.
this whole offseason, I was like, Baker Mayfield is going to be the Jets are going to pick Baker Mayfield. Is what I was thinking the entire offseason. It was Sam Darnold is going number 1 to the Browns, or if they somehow make the idiotic choice and draft Saquon Barkley, then he's going to the Giants. I was like, Sam Darnold will be on the Browns or the Giants, never will be on the Jets. Don't even think about it. Study everybody else. Just forget about him. So I fell in love with Baker. I was like, there was rumors that he was the guy the Jets loved. There was all this shit going around. And I got to research his game, and I ended up liking the way he played. I loved seeing his leadership, whatever. And then, obviously, everything happened. Browns take Mayfield. Jets end up with Darnold.
And Baker comes in and bodies
Baker,
the team.
Yeah. Baker comes in,
That's how you draw it
and
up.
Baker comes in and does
just how they drew it up.
That's the thing, though. He comes in and he does exactly what I was so hyped for him to come do on the Jets. Come in and just energize your team and just be that. I fucking hate seeing it now.
man.
He did it on the Jets, all right.
He's running up the sideline, pumping up the crowd, and I'm like, yo, fuck you. I hate you. I never want to play you again, you hype little bitch. But that's who he is, and that's what I wanted. And I don't want to say after annihilating my team that I'm buying in, but I am, because I honestly always have bought in.
Right.
I always he's so accurate passing.
Accurate.
He's a hard ass worker. He's
a
been
dart,
working himself
yo.
up his entire life. If he ends up being great and turns the Browns around, he's going to have one of the best stories in the history of sports.
Easily.
30
Oh
for
my
30.
God.
Yeah,
He's
that's
all
30
over
for
it.
30. He will have one of the best stories of all time.
Easily. It's not even
And-
close.
And you know what? I just asked you that because I thought it would be
Totally.
nice for you to explain.
It was.
But I do like Baker Mayfield. I think he's very good. And one of the things I really liked about him was when I was watching. I know it's Hard Knocks. It's just Hard Knocks. It's only what they want you to see. But he went against all the perceptions of him. You know, that he was loud and that he just wanted to be a celebrity and all this stuff. Whenever he was on camera talking with Tyrod Taylor, with Hugh Jackson, he was very respectful, very committed to. Hugh Jackson told him that first day of practice, like, Tyrod gets here early, and he studies the plays. He gets here early. He watches film. You need to start doing that, and the next day he was doing that.
Yep.
So it's clear that he's committed to being a great football player, and there's not much else to do in Cleveland. So hey, you might as well just be great at football.
Yeah. Right.
Wait.
But I think I do think Baker's going to be very good, but I'm just like, he's played one half of football. Let's relax.
I just want to add on. Just the whole Johnny Manziel comparison was the worst.
Yeah.
Worst
Bullshit.
comparison for
Such
that was
a
so
lazy analysis.
It was literally short white guy moving around the pocket and playing well in college, and he had
Big
that one
personality.
big personality. He had the one incident with getting arrested, whatever. First of all, that cop should be a linebacker in the NFL because he had some nice form.
That's so gas.
But it
that
was
whole
just
story.
they're not even just the way they played in college is not even not similar at all. Like, and it's I was saying leading up to the draft, I was so pissed seeing everyone use that against him, and it's just like that's so unfair. Just because Johnny came in and fucked his whole chance up, now it was affecting Mayfield.
Yeah,
it was literally like
headline
something he
bullshit.
couldn't even. Yeah, it just that's why. We're better than ESPN, so you should listen to us. Because
but you're right though. It was lazy. It's not fair. Baker checks all the boxes to me that a quarterback needs.
yeah,
What
he
you
just
said,
he checks everything except that he's not Sam Darnold. So
he's
that's
absorbing
where he
knowledge
won't.
like a sponge. He's eager to learn, like you said, absorbing knowledge, somewhat sponge-like, you could say.
Spongy.
Spongy. He's very spongy, Baker Mayfield.
Besides the coaching staff, he's definitely in one of the better situations for a Browns quarterback
for sure.
in
In
the
hindsight,
recent years.
So you know what they do? They go ahead and they trade their best receiver. So that's
Yeah, exactly, and then they win.
Browns
So
doing
maybe it
Browns.
was
Yeah.
maybe it
In
was.
hindsight, it looks like
Who
a
knows?
brilliant idea because, they went 0-16, but a lot of people thought, and it's proving to be correct, that this team's a lot better than their record said it was last year. Let's draft the quarterback who's a few years older, ready to take the reins, and from that one half of football that he played, granted it's short, granted it was football, he played great. He looked like he was ready to go, which it made the Browns organization look really smart.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think we're all. I mean, I don't want to extend too much because we really went over the time limit here. But
As usual.
with all the quarterbacks, they're gonna have great games. These rookie quarterbacks, they're gonna have great games. They're gonna have bad games, and you can only go off what you've seen so far. So what we've seen so far from Baker is that he's who the Browns want him to be, and honestly, I hope for them that he's legit. I hope it just turns around especially for the fans, because you got to be really goddamn loyal.
Yeah. We're all pulling for him.
Yeah, but I guess.
Leave it at that. You got any last words about the Bake Show?
He's still mad about the Rams.
All right, we definitely got to wrap it up. So we were going to cap it at 45 minutes. I think we're at like an hour and a half again, but it's whatever. Thank you everyone for tuning in.
I just asked you if you had anything to say.
You like any final thoughts?
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, come on. Before we
Baker's
exit
your
here.
boy.
Too late. He's my boy. He's a baller. He's the most passionate guy I've seen on the football field in so long. It's just, I don't know. There's not much else to say.
Jeff's in
just
love
in
with
love
him.
with Baker Mayfield. No, seriously, no. He's a baller. He's a gamer. He's one of those gamer kind of guys where like you count on him.
Yeah,
So,
and he
we're all in agreement then.
just beat the Jets, so
It
let's
just
get
sucks.
off of this.
We're over time. We're over it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, so thank you for
Jeff's
listening.
opinion
Anyone who
about
tuned
Baker
in.
Mayfield.
If you haven't listened to us before, we've had only 2 other episodes so far, so please go check them out.
Yep.
And we like to do Q&As like we just did, so please submit questions whenever.
Love the Q.
And thank you.
Barely have time to answer any of
Yeah,
them.
we barely have time to answer. Hopefully when we get more organized, it'll be better. But
Thanks for tuning in.
you
All
guys
right.
have any?
See you
All right,
next week.
Cool.
Good night.